What's good, guys? I'm going to be bringing you my first ever Madden Mobile video, and today I'm going to be showing off my team a little bit. And basically, I'll be showing you how I got these players and what you should look for in certain positions. So first off, if you guys didn't already know, the layout in the managed lineup screen is flipped when you get on the field. So you would think that because my Anthony Davis is on the left side of my screen, he would be my left tackle, but he's actually my right tackle. So just keep that in mind when you're making your lineup. So on my O-line, I have the team MVP Anthony Davis card. All the MVPs I have, I got from completing the MVP sets. Because as most of you know, it's generally cheaper to complete sets for players, and also because with these MVP sets, you eventually get Earl Thomas. So what you're looking for in your offensive line are the strength and blocking stats. You're going to see that most of my O-line is going to have pass blocking and run blocking in the 90s, as well as strength. Anthony Davis is one of the top offensive tackles in the game, and he's pretty cheap, so definitely consider picking him up. Next, we have the Beetle. Definitely one of the highest rated offensive guards in the game, but his set is pretty expensive because you have to get Red Bryant. But I actually got him relatively cheap because I was in a bid war at like 3 a.m. And after two bids, the other dude could not hang. Pretty sure he passed out right there. After that, your boy got it done. Next, we have Corey Lichtensteiger. All the good centers in the game are overpriced because there's less than 5 centers that have an overall rating higher than 90. And a weird glitch with the set, with Corey's set in this game, is that Stephen Bowen, the defensive end you need for his set, won't appear in the dock where you can drag him into the set until you have like 4 of his cards. So you're going to need to buy 4 of him to actually complete the set, which sounds bad, but he only goes for like 1,000, so it's not too bad. It's just really gimmicky. Next, we have John Asamoah. He's pretty average, but his set is pretty averagely priced too. So his blocking stats are all right, but his impact block is relatively low. But I don't really look at impact block too much because I think strength and the other blocking stats are more important. Finally, we have the Beluga, the big old whale known as Bulaga. I got him from the captain set for pretty cheap. I'm sure it was I'm sure it was like 30K or less. He's probably one of the first elites I ever got. Oh, and most of my team's overall stats are increased by at least 2 because I have Richard Sherman and ET3. You'll see them later, but I think Bulaga is like a 90 or a 91 originally. Next, we have the receivers. What you're looking for is catching, but speed, agility, jump, awareness are pretty critical too. I think Andre Johnson and AJ Green are pretty underrated because this DeAndre Hopkins I pulled, he's originally a 94, but with the stat boosts, he becomes a 96. And I don't think that he's particularly better than Andre Johnson and AJ Green because he only has a 95 catch. Andre has a 96, and AJ Green has a 97 catch. But look at Andre Johnson's awareness, man. He's got a 99 awareness. You can't tell me that someone with a 99 awareness is doing worse than DeAndre Hopkins with a 95 catch. Like, that just doesn't make sense to me. Screw it, I'm going off on a story. Like, I'll be at the 15-yard line with 10 seconds left, and I'll call a play, and even if AJ Green isn't open at the snap, he'll beat his corner, and with that 97 catch, he'll just come through. That happens, like, all the time. I'm sure it's happened, like, 6 times. So if you get AJ Green, expect stuff like that to happen. But anyway, my tight end is Gronkowski. I'm pretty sure he's the highest catch rating for a tight end in the game, and I passed my tight end a lot, so that's why I chose him over Delaney Walker or like a Shannon Sharp. I also got a good deal on Hightower, which is the elite you need for a set, I think he goes for around 200K. I think I got him for 150 maybe. But if you have a different play style, maybe Shannon Sharp is a better option, but Shannon Sharp's way more expensive because He's an NFL legend. You can see Gronk's catching is actually higher than DeAndre Hopkins. So choke on that knowledge, I guess. Uh, Jamal Charles is my running back. I actually pulled him from the Football Outsiders set. I think he was the fastest in the game. I may be wrong on that, but now the 99 Bo Charles is definitely faster with a 99 speed. It's funny because prior to pulling him, I was telling myself like I want Jamal Charles, and he pops up out of nowhere with that 98 speed, 97 acceleration, 97 elusiveness. If there's an opening, your safeties are not catching him. On the other side, we have Bo Jackson, the one that everyone got. I'm gonna be kind of sad when they decrease him to an 80 overall because he's pretty good. Um, I'm gonna have to get rid of Andre Williams because that is not gonna cut it. His trucking's a 95, which is actually pretty damn good, but I think I'm gonna pick up Andre Ellington. Finally, the final piece is Jay Cutler. He's originally a 92, and I don't really know why nobody has him because his set is really cheap to complete. And when it comes to a quarterback, like you're supposed to look at throwing stats because that's the most important stats right there. And I had the 90 Andrew Luck captain card before this, and I was hesitant on using Jay Cutler because I thought the speed stats would be important, but really the speed difference is not noticeable. But the passing difference, the stats on the passing, the throwing is insanely noticeable. So keep that in mind, guys. Throwing stats are no joke. They're really important. I want a new quarterback. Like obviously, I want Steve Young or Joe Montana, but they're super expensive, so I need an alternative. And I'm not really sure, like, if I should get the 96 Andrew Luck or the Team of the Week Tony Romo that came out recently. If you guys want, leave some suggestions. I could use some help because right now I am not sure at all. On my defensive line, we have Demarcus Ware. His set is pretty cheap. We also have Nick Fairley. Um, I got the elite safety you need for his set from a pack, so I don't know how much that safety goes for, so I couldn't tell you how expensive his set is. We have Dontari Poe, who's originally a 91, but his stats are pretty good. I don't really run a 4-3 coverage anyway, so he kind of just sits there, which kind of sucks. Finally, we have Cameron Wake, whose set is one of the more expensive ones for the defensive ends. I was debating whether to get him or the 96 most feared JJ Watt that everyone has, but ultimately, I think Cameron Wake's stats were better for my playstyle, and he's way cheaper. But you guys can decide. Tell me if you guys think differently and why. I'm pretty curious to know actually why everyone loves JJ Watt. I obviously like him in real life, but in the game, I think they cheated him on his stats. But next for the linebackers, I just pulled this Team of the Week Khalil Mack from a Road to the Playoffs pack from the Frozen set. But I used to have the Chargers MVP Dwight Freeney, whose set is super easy to complete. It probably runs you like 80K, and his stats aren't that great. But no joke, he got like as many or more picks than Richard Sherman. I haven't played too many games with Khalil Mack, but yeah, he's already gotten like 2 picks. Maybe that's just my coverage, but I guess we'll find out. We also have Jack Lambert here from the Snowman set, which is super cheap to complete now. The collectibles go for like a 15K each, and if you already have a couple, the most you'll spend on that is 150K, and for all the stuff that you get, that's an insanely good deal. Jack Lambert is obviously a beast, so definitely complete that set. You know, he's got a 99 tackle, 98 pursuit. That's insane. I wouldn't even bother with the Avalanche set anymore because, yeah, you're guaranteed a Snowman collectible, but if they're just running for 15K anyway, and you need the FedEx Stadium, the Lambeau Stadium, and Lambeau Field, sorry, and Ralph Wilson Stadium, and you can sell all those for 50K, so you're better off just selling those and not completing that Avalanche set. Next, we have Bobby Wagner, and he's a Seahawk, so He increases the strength of Earl Thomas and Sherman. So I have like mad strength boosts on my team. His stats are pretty good. There's definitely better linebackers and middle linebackers out there. But 97 tackle, 95 pursuit, and 90 speed is definitely not too bad. Finally, we have Alec Ogletree, and I've had the opportunity to get tons of different linebackers with way higher ratings, but his stats are actually like better than all those guys. He's got great zone and man coverage. I'd recommend just searching him up because looking at the stats on like my screen doesn't really do him justice. But just compare him to your linebackers right now, and you'd be super surprised. And he's not expensive at all. Maybe in another video, I'll show you guys a comparison to some higher rated linebackers, and I'll just show you how good he is. Let me know if you guys have found other players that have lower ratings but awesome stats, because I have a couple of those on my team, and I'm about to show you guys them. Next, we have my corners. Love my corners. We have Richard Sherman from the NFL Domination set. It's really not that difficult to complete. It just takes a while. If you're not good at shutting out opponents and stuff like that, I guess my tips would be run better coverages, learn more about the game. I guess that sounds rude, but I don't know what else to tell you, man. Maybe get better corners, better safeties. The live events start on Wednesdays and Fridays, and on those days, I just put all my stamina into those events. Uh, he's obviously an amazing card. Voice crack. He increases everyone's awareness by 5, and his stats are insane. I don't want to start an argument in the comments, but I think he's the best corner in the game. He has the most picks in the league, and he hasn't been in the league as long as, say, Darrelle Revis. And I know he doesn't always cover the number one receiver, but still, numbers do not lie. Anyway, we have Vontae Davis, who's the second best corner you can get from the MVP sets. I think Joe Hayden is the best corner you can get from the sets, but he's more expensive. So I might pick up Joe Hayden later, but I don't really run too many plays that require a nickel or a dime back, so there's really no point in dropping 100K on someone who I'm not going to use too often. I think he's more than 100K even. Desmond Trufant is another one of those players whose rating is lower, but his stats are pretty good. You can see that he has 90s where it counts. I picked up the Prince on like the front page of the auction house, I guess you could call it. I don't really look at the front page too much, but if something catches my eye, then I'll glance at it. I won the bid war at like 51K, which is way cheaper than what he goes for. So if I upgrade and I sell him for how much he goes for, I'll make like a 40K profit. Some people run safeties in these positions just because they have a higher rating, and if like your overall team rating is what matters to you, I guess I do that, but I don't really care about my overall rating as much as I do care about their attributes. So I could run like a Harrison Smith, but in general, safeties have lower stats in all regards than cornerbacks. And I don't really know why that is, but just keep that in mind. For my safeties, I have ET3. He's originally a 96, and he boosts everyone's strength by 2. You get him when you complete 10 of the team MVP sets, like I was telling you about, which is nice because he's a free reward, and he goes for at least 200K, and his stats are really good. So I don't really know what else to tell you, but you should definitely think about completing these MVP sets. Um, Finally, we have Devin McCourty, who's also one of those players who has a low overall but insanely good stats. His stats are way better than most safeties. I got the 92 Malcolm Jennings from the MVP set, and his stats are like way worse than Devin McCourty, so I sold him for 200K. So if you're more concerned about the actual attributes, I just pick up Devin McCourty because he's super cheap. And then for however many better safeties you get with better ratings, they're going to have worse attributes, so just sell them. That's easy profit right there. Finally, for my special teams, let me get over there real quick. We have Greg the Leg Zerline. Yes, that is right. The second best kicker in the game. Pretty sure everyone has him. But I don't know how much he goes for now if you don't have him, but back in the day he was like 10K. Justin Tucker, the best kicker, goes for like 200K, And I don't know about you guys, but I'm not about to spend 200K for a kicker that only has a 98 kick power, which is marginally higher. Plus, if I miss a kick with Justin Tucker, I'll be so pissed. I'd probably just like rip my head off because at that point you realize you just spent 200K and you still missed the kick. I'd probably just throw my phone on the ground. I did that with Flappy Birds actually. Crack the screen. Anyway, Greg the Leg's pretty cheap. If you haven't seen the Dude Perfect video with Greg and John Hecker, you should definitely watch it. I'll put it in the description. That's how good it is. I don't really care to show you my returners because I suck at returning anything. If you guys have any tips for that, I'd love for you to share them, but I'm not good at returning kicks or punts. I was deciding between Taiwan and Percy Harvin, but ultimately Taiwan Jones is faster, and same with Tavon Austin. He's also faster. So that was my logic behind it. Finally, we have Brett Kern, who's the best puncher in the game. I wish they would add an elite puncher, but it's not really a big deal. He's pretty cheap back in the day. Again, I don't know how much he goes for now. Thanks for watching, guys. Leave some suggestions for what you guys would like to see next. Again, I might make that video with the Alec Ogletree and the Devin McCourty comparisons. But for now, guys, I'm out. Enjoy the holiday season with your family. Thanks for watching. Give it a thumbs up the butt if you enjoyed. Thanks, guys. I'm out.